time I drove the 720S, I remember thinking this car is probably too fast. Not on the racetrack, of course, because that's where you can use all the performance, but on the public road, it is properly ballistic. And then I thought, what on earth are McLaren going to do with the forthcoming LT version? How can they possibly make it any faster? Well, this is our answer, the 765 LT. Fortunately, there exists a surefire way of making very fast cars even faster. Adding power, increasing downforce and removing weight, and the 675 LT sticks to it, producing, as the name suggests, 765 horsepower, 45 more than the 720S. It also weighs 80 kilograms less, so as a result, it'll do 0 to 62 a tenth faster in 2.8 seconds and 0 to 124 miles an hour in 7.2. That's a full 6 tenths faster than the 720S and just 4 tenths behind the Senna and P1. So how do you remove 80 kilograms from a car that is already quite skinny? With great difficulty, but I shall attempt to explain, starting with the big stuff. So you now get all carbon fibre body panels, which saves about 14 kilograms. In the cabin, you've now got the carbon fibre shell bucket seats from the McLaren Senna. That saves 18 kilograms, but the biggest weight saving comes down here with these new 10-spoke forged alloy wheels. Now they save 22 kilograms in total. You'll see they're wrapped in stickier Trofeo R tyres as standard. And get this for a bit of detailed engineering. In there, it uses titanium wheel nuts just to shave off a few extra grams. And while we're down here, we might as well talk about the brakes because you get the same calipers as a Senna as standard, along with carbon ceramic discs, but you can upgrade to the ceramic discs from the Senna, which are very special indeed. They're the ones that are cured for 7 months for the ultimate in thermal stability, which to you or I means you can abuse them lap after lap on track and they will refuse to fade. In terms of stopping distance, it will do 124 miles an hour to 0 in just 110 meters and probably rip your eyes clean out of their sockets in the process. And the weight saving gets even nerdier. There's a polycarbonate rear windscreen and rear quarter windows, thinner glass for the windscreen and windows, no carpets, a new carbon fibre centre console and McLaren's first full titanium exhaust. More on that in a bit. And then we come to the styling. Not exactly subtle, is it? This car produces 25% more downforce than the 720S, and it's that downforce requirement that dictates the way it looks. So at the front end, you've got this massive front splitter. That entire carbon fibre section there is all new. Then in the front wheel arches, you've got these carbon fibre vents here, a bit like the 911 GT2 RS. Now that relieves pressure in the wheel arch because that's one of the most turbulent areas in the car and just reduces lift on the front axle. Moving down the side of the car, you've got these larger and more prominent carbon fibre side sills here. They just smooth the air down the side of the car, and round the back, you find the 765's Longtail. Doesn't actually make the car any longer, this, but it is 20% bigger than the active rear wing you get on the 720S. There's also a substantially larger carbon fibre rear diffuser down there, and slap bang in the middle, probably the car's defining design cue, which is these 4 quad exhaust pipes. Reminds me a bit actually of the Bugatti Chiron Sport, and I'm told these are very happy to spit flames on the overrun, which is always nice. The engine is the same 4-litre twin-turbo V8, producing, in old money, 754 brake horsepower and 590 pounds-feet of torque. That's thanks to the addition of pistons, fuel pump and a head gasket from the Senna. The suspension is a refined version of the 720S's linked active hydraulic suspension, now with 11% stiffer spring rates front and rear and a lower ride height at the front. And the final drive ratio is 15% shorter than the 720S, the lowest of any McLaren ever, which should make the in-gear acceleration feel quite lively. The good news is that some of that amazing engineering is on display if you go for the optional engine viewing porthole thing in the back, which I can heartily recommend. The rest of the interior is quite familiar 720S, just with more bite. So down here you've got mats, but underneath that, no carpet. There's no armrest here in this new carbon fibre centre console. If you're a sadist, you can delete the aircon entirely and these seats just completely swallow you up. They say the 765 LT is still a road car at heart, and to be fair, it does still have conventional seat belts instead of those excruciatingly fiddly 4-point harnesses, but it's probably not the perfect car for the supermarket run. This is a very McLaren kind of car, isn't it? You get the sense that the engineers revel in exploring all that fine detail, and the result is undoubtedly another phenomenally fast supercar. But this is the first LT model to be a direct successor to another LT model, the brilliant 675 LT. So make no mistake, it's got some big boots to fill.